This logo did $6 billion of damage in one day, but I'm going to try and redeem it using my years of professional motion design experience. In mathematics, X is a variable, an unknown force we don't yet understand. The variable is Elon. And to understand it, I'll be animating the new logo in completely different styles, representing each of Elon's most remarkable traits, his Horcruxes. Elon's journey started like anyone else's. Air-conditioned apartheid South Africa, a head full of ideas, and a backpack overflowing with emeralds from his father's mine. It's here I believe Elon's obsession with the letter X began. For this design, I wanted to depict Elon's original power source, the logo as an emerald, using the aesthetic of 80s opulence, but also of 80s horror, perhaps where graphic design peaked. I started in Illustrator creating a long gem shape for the stroke of the X, then in After Effects animating an emerald gradient sliding to the side, and filled each segment of the gem with that gradient and offset them so it looked like it was reflecting the light at different angles. I gave it a contrasting background, red and black, with a slash through it for the other stroke. I put my usual stack of retro effects on top, some glows, some blur and sharpen to lose the quality and get that halation effect, a slight shake, and some film grain. To give it an extra 80s sparkle, I created copies of the emerald, removed everything but the brightest highlights, then blurred them horizontally. Then again on another copy, but vertically. One down. Musk works.
People should not work this hard. They should not do this. It's very painful.
Painful in what sense?
It hurts my brain and my heart.
And what better symbol of work than the tool of industry, a hammer, and the tool of agriculture, a sickle? Wait, that doesn't quite work. Let's stick with two hammers, more in line with Musk's ever-marching plan for X. I recreated the classic hammer iconography designed by Gerald Scarfe for Pink Floyd's The Wall. Now, any mushy billionaire can get two hammers to look like an X, but that X logo has that extra diagonal line. I couldn't just add a third hammer, that would look ridiculous. So I added a spotlight to cast a shadow on the right to line up with the original.
In addition to working for me, you may now praise me as your almighty.
Amen, sir.
One of Musk's most genius moves was inventing electricity, inventing the car, and then farming their malformed self-driving offspring to create a fleet of vehicles that will forever change how we make insurance claims.
We took a look at the data, selected the clips you watched the most, and put them together into this list of the 20 biggest Tesla crashes of the year so far.
So this design had to feature electricity to honor the acute electrical superpowers that both Nikola Tesla and Elon presumably share. I tried just outlining the logo with After Effects' advanced lightning effect, but that just looked, well...
shocking.
He just electrocuted a man. I wanted it to look more like a Tesla coil because, you know, Tesla. And just looking at one of these feels like a safety violation. I did get a lot of help from this lightning tutorial by Video Copilot. Ah, Andrew Kramer, I do admire thee. I added a whole bunch of lightning with a rounded X-shaped mask so they all kind of stick to the edge and the shape is obvious, and finished it with even more glow effects. Now, this cool scarf wearing, no rules playing by business rogue doesn't play by the rules. He's his own man, but he also sticks it to the man. On September 7, 2018, he smoked a legal substance, publicly, cementing him as a hero of the people. This was a radical act, in both meanings of the word. He also changed X's tagline on the App Store to Blaze Your Glory. I'm just surprised he hasn't changed the character limit on Twitter to 420. Oh, he has. So I needed to create an exhale of smoke that formed the shape of an X. I animated this frame by frame on my iPad using CaliPeg, starting by animating the basic shapes to get the timing right, then split that into more circles, making up the main mass of the dank clouds. Then another pass filling the gap in between, and adding a final pass of shadows on all of them. And because he's obviously smoking that loud, I coloured them slightly purple, matching the official Pantone swatch for Sticky Icky.
There was.
You ever see a grown adult beating the shit out of a 10 or 11-year-old.
Now our philosopher king possesses not only the strongest mind, but the strongest body. He has challenged Mark Zuckerberg to mortal combat, presumably to determine who dreams of the most electric sheep.
I think it's time for my workout.
Now, being like Musk, someone who is pale and generally soft to the touch, this seems like a physical fight you wouldn't want to pick. There are some undeniable benefits that even I would get from trying to fight a high-profile peer like, let's say, Andrew Kramer. But there are two good reasons why I wouldn't. I drew Musk in a commanding pose matching the strong form of the X, using all of my human anatomy knowledge I learned from the greatest resource available. And to animate him flexing, I created just 4 separate frames of animation. 2 of him holding his flexed pose, 1 of him at a relaxed state, and 1 really flexed where his muscles are larger, so we get that nice bounce as he moves in and out of his flex. Musk has money. Dollars. Dosh. And why wouldn't he? He co-founded PayPig. He works every second of the day, twice out on weekends. And by all accounts, he has that dog in him. Now for a rebrand, a company the size of Twitter could easily pay hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. But not our Musky baby. He crowdsourced the X logo in 24 hours by putting out a single tweet, cutting through all the bureaucracy, design agency nonsense, and anything remotely resembling due diligence, and got this logo essentially for free. So the only real cost was the $6 billion it knocked off the company valuation. And of course the $44 billion Elon paid personally to be able to make that decision. But he recouped some of that by saving time using an Envato Elements template to reveal the logo. Now this video is not sponsored by Envato, but I don't mind throwing an affiliate link down there in case any curious creatives or tech overlords are wanting to turn their company around. Oh, and I'm getting another report now saying he saved even more money revealing the logo again with another template. When will the savings stop? I designed this one to look like the almighty dollar. Wait a minute. And we can turn the middle N into an X quite easily if we just... and then... there we go. To make it feel extra conspiratorial, I used close-up details of dollar bills, more paint texture to cover them up, a couple of frames totally blurred out for extra secrecy, and a cheeky light leak over everything to illuminate a scheme that goes all the way down to the top. In one atrocious decision, Elon threw out decades of branding, decades of brain cells, and even an honestly great logo. But how do we know it was great? Well, it was made of circles. X, not a circle in sight. Amateur lines that any chimp with a ruler could have created. These circular designs are the way we designers show the objective quality of a logo. Not at all something we'd slap on afterwards in order to make it look cleverer than it is on a Behance post. Now Elon loves very few things. The letter X, Mercy, and Art Deco, the style that defined the affluence of the early 20th century. Before choosing the new logo, Musk said X should be closest in style to Art Deco, and the new logo at least kinda is. It's very similar to other X's and Art Deco inspired typefaces, so let's go with that. I added a few extra details, and oh, he's added a grunge texture on top of the app icon, which is a bit more hybrid theory than Great Gatsby. But I can work with that. Let's pretend that texture is film damage, and take inspiration from film title cards of that era. I created an extruded shape to make it look 3D, created a shadow using CC Radial Fast Blur, and added even more grain and shape. So while drawing this piece of shit, I struggled to show the thicker stroke, so I leaned on the shadows of the defecation and the highlights of the stench cloud, which I animated moving up slowly frame by frame. I also stylized the main mass as to not be quite as repulsive. I originally made this scene in the daylight on some grass, but that just felt too organic and wholesome. I also tried making a Lego version, but that didn't go anywhere productive. Elon is saving the future. Clearly. But he's not rushing into it. He's taking a calm and measured approach to things like AI.
I mean, with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon.
The last thing he wants is a sci-fi dystopia. Here at Neuralink, what could possibly go wrong? But the future needs an X. And of Elon's long string of X's, one gives me hope. SpaceX. His goal can't be clearer. Occupy Mars. That's actually the moon, but that's neither here nor there. I'm sure they'll figure that out once they're up there. Now, I genuinely think humans going to Mars is a good idea. At least better than humans going to Twitter. So for the climax of this animation, I'm creating the Mars landing using the most futuristic artistic medium I know, miniature diorama. I created an X out of foam board that is going to be our lander. And for the Martian surface, I stuck down a whole bunch of bark, rocks, and sand. I gave them a wash of paint, dry brushed them, and added some red-brown pigment powder for that nice, matte, dusty finish. I tried painting a few backgrounds and testing them, because the sunrise and sunset on Mars actually give it a blue sky. There can be one fun fact in this video, but I settled on red. To film the landing, I rigged up a mount to the top of my camera by taping a stick to a microphone, then dangling the X in front of it, and instead of lowering the camera and X onto the Mars diorama, I figured it would be easier to just raise up the Martian surface to just underneath the X. And I just happened to have a motorized platform that I can program to different heights. I lined it up and hit record. And all that was left was to compose a fitting score for it, and compile them all together in an After Effects project, which you can download for free by the way, to take a closer look at how organised it is, because we always label our layers, and steal some of the effects for your own projects. Go ahead. Oh, and I also teach motion design courses. Now every Horcrux was in place, or saved, or destroyed. I'm not really 100% on the metaphor, I never finished the Hunger Games.